Okay, so let's talk about The Last Jedi, with spoilers obviously. I don't want to make a full review about the whole film. There are other videos that mention a lot of problems with this film, like the Rose-Finn storyline, Snoke, and the film's over-the-top humor. I hated all those things too. But these other reviews also mention the good things about this movie, like the fight scenes and Luke's awesomeness in the final battle. I loved all of these things too. There's one thing though that actually no one ever mentions, and it amazes me because I think that's the biggest problem with The Last Jedi. But before I talk about that, I have to have a few words about General Holdo too. I know you heard it all before, but I just have to. In every movie at the end there is a final battle or any other kind of confrontation, and it has to be surprising and also inevitable. We have to feel that this battle has to happen, either by the uncontrollable events or by the character's choices. All paths have to lead here. It works like this in every good movie, just think about the films of the original trilogy. Now let's see how it is in The Last Jedi. The final battle has to happen because General Holdo's plan to hide out in the old rebel base didn't work out. The First Order found out about the plan and now they're coming to kill them all. How did they find out about the plan? Because DJ, the hacker guy, told them. How was he able to do that? Because Rose and Finn took him to Snoke's ship. Why did they need to do that? Because they wanted to sabotage the tracking system so they could get away from the First Order. Why they wanted to do that? Because Poe was sure that if they do nothing, then the First Order will just blow them up, and there's nothing they can do about it. And why did Poe think that? Because General Holdo made him think that. She didn't tell him the whole plan. And why did she do that? We have absolutely no fucking idea. Remember when they are in the escape shuttles and Leia tells Poe about the plan, he immediately realizes that it's a good plan, it can work. So why couldn't General Holdo just tell him 2 hours earlier? Of course then the final battle wouldn't have happened and there wouldn't have been a movie, but that's not a valid reason that it happens because the movie is just more interesting this way. It's just shitty, lazy writing, that's what it is. I actually really tried to understand her. So she became the new leader and she has this hothead pilot who asks her all these questions. She sees that Poe is reckless and maybe even dangerous, but she has a way to call him down. She has a good plan, but she thinks that rather than telling it to Poe, now it's a good time to put him in his place. Why? Did she just want to show who is the real boss? In all the other parts of the movie, especially with her big sacrifice, she seems like a brave, likable, good person. So why did she have to be such a stupid bitch with Poe? Is this how Disney wants to show us capable women in leadership positions by making them stupid and incapable? Everything goes south for the Resistance because of this mistake. And of course characters should be able to make mistakes, but those should come from their values and their way of thinking. Poe is also to be blamed, that's for sure. He got a direct order and he disobeyed it. But the thing is, I can understand that because we already got to know Poe. We know that he always wants to fight and he cannot just sit around. And with Poe's point of view, with the limited information that he was provided, this was actually the right decision to try to do something. But we don't know anything about Holdo. The movie just brings her in from nowhere so she could make the biggest mistake of the story, when it would have been just so easy and obvious to tell Poe about the whole plan. As I said, shitty writing. I know you heard it all before, I just had to get it out of my system. But I never heard anyone ever say anything about the biggest problem of this film, and that is obviously Luke. Yeah, I heard people say they don't like that he is so different from the Luke we knew from Return of the Jedi. He's an old, broken and grumpy figure now, but I don't have a problem with that. I have a problem with what he did to Ben. I understand that it was very important that we could feel empathy towards Kylo Ren even after he killed Han Solo, and it was not an easy thing to achieve. I remember watching The Force Awakens, I really wanted him to turn back to the light, but after he killed his father, I was like, no bitch, now you have to die. So The Last Jedi got that right, that we should see that it was not only by Ben's choice to turn to the dark side, but why like this? You want me to be okay with Luke Skywalker standing over his sleeping nephew to murder him? Even if you just considered it for a second, do you think that's okay? He was standing there with an active lightsaber. And I tell you again, for the character build of Ben, it was a good choice to write the story this way. But it just took a huge shit on Luke Skywalker. And this is not a different Luke who got grumpy after years of exile. This is the same Luke we saw in Episode VI, who defeated the Empire and saved his father, only some years older, so I imagine wiser and more powerful. Again, I try to understand how this felt for him. Maybe he really saw so much evil in Ben that he got so shocked and frightened. But even then, Luke stood in front of Palpatine and threw away his lightsaber. And he stood in front of Darth Vader when everything was lost, and he still decided to try to save him. And this film wants me to believe that this same Luke would consider murdering his nephew in his sleep. This film wants me to accept it. I can't. I say it again, there are a lot of great moments in The Last Jedi, especially when Rey and Ben teamed up against the guards. A beautifully shot fight scene with so much emotion underneath. I honestly think that that scene is movie history. And the film still made an awesome wise hero of Luke at the end, so I cannot say that I hate it. I cannot even say that I don't like it. It just hurts. The Force Awakens had a lot of problems, but it built up the new characters nicely while respected the legacy of the old ones. And Episode VII still had the possibility for this new trilogy to be legendary, a classic like the original. The Last Jedi proved that it's impossible now. I really hope, JJ, that you can make a good final movie. You made okay with Force Awakens, so I trust you not to fuck this up anymore. But if you do,
then I'll see you in hell!